I found out my parents used my name to take out loans and left me to pay the price. It all started with a call from my bank. "Hi, this is just a courtesy reminder that your payment on the personal loan is overdue," the voice on the other end said. I frowned, gripping the phone tighter. "I think you have the wrong person. I don't have a personal loan." There was a pause. "This is for an account under your name. Are you not Anna Reynolds?" My stomach dropped. "Yes, that's me, but I've never taken out a loan." The representative hesitated before continuing. "This account was opened 2 years ago. If you didn't authorize it, I'd recommend filing a fraud claim." I hung up, my mind racing. Fraud? How could someone have opened an account in my name without me knowing? I immediately pulled my credit report and felt the blood drain from my face. There wasn't just one loan. There were multiple accounts, credit cards, payday loans, and even a car lease, all under my name. In total, the debt added up to nearly $40,000. It didn't make any sense. I'd never signed up for any of this. I worked part-time while going to college and barely had enough money to pay my own bills, let alone take on extra debt. Then, as I scrolled through the report, I noticed something that made my stomach churn. The address listed on all the accounts wasn't mine. It was my parents'. I called my mom immediately, my voice shaking with anger. "Mom, do you know anything about loans being opened in my name?" There was a pause, long enough for me to know the answer before she said anything. "Anna, I can explain," she said finally, her tone full of guilt. "You did this," I shouted, my voice cracking. "We were in a tough spot," she said quickly. "Your dad and I needed money and we didn't think you'd notice. It was just supposed to be temporary." "Temporary?" I yelled. "You've ruined my credit. Do you have any idea what this could do to me?" "I'm sorry," she said weakly. "We didn't have any other options. The bank wouldn't give us a loan and we were about to lose the house." The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. My parents, my own parents, had stolen my identity and saddled me with debt, all while pretending everything was fine. I demanded to know how they could do this to me, but their excuses only made me angrier. "We were going to pay it back," my dad said when I confronted him later, "but then your mum lost her job and things spiraled. We didn't mean for it to get this bad." "You didn't mean for it to get this bad," I repeated, my voice shaking. "Do you have any idea what you've done? My credit score is destroyed. I can't even apply for student loans now because of this." Over the next few weeks, I tried to untangle the mess they had made. I filed fraud claims, reported the loans to the credit bureaus, and even consulted a lawyer. But every step of the process was grueling. The banks demanded proof, and since the accounts had been opened with my parents' address, it was nearly impossible to deny that someone in my household had done it. When I asked my parents to help me pay off the debts, they looked at me like I was crazy. "We don't have the money," my mom said, tears in her eyes. "That's why we had to use your name in the first place." "So what?" I snapped. "You're just going to let me deal with this?" My dad sighed. "We don't have a choice, Anna. You're young. You have time to recover from this." The words felt like a slap in the face. They had stolen my financial future and expected me to just accept it. It took years to dig myself out of the hole they put me in. I worked extra shifts, lived on a shoestring budget, and slowly rebuilt my credit. Along the way, my relationship with my parents crumbled. They tried to make amends, but I couldn't bring myself to forgive them. Every time I looked at them, all I could see was betrayal. "We did what we thought was best for the family," my mom said once, as if that justified anything. "No," I replied coldly. "You did what was easiest for you, and you didn't care how it would affect me." Now, years later, I've managed to rebuild my life, but the scars remain. I've learned to be independent, to rely on no one but myself. And while I've found peace in moving forward, the trust I once had in my parents is gone forever. Sometimes the people you think will protect you are the ones who hurt you the most. And while I may have forgiven them in my heart, I'll never forget the lesson they taught me. That family isn't always the safe haven it's supposed to be. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. My family isn't who I thought they were. Back last year, my sister confessed to me that she was cheating on her husband of 10 years. She has beautiful children with him. Her excuse was that he let himself go, doesn't help around the house, and can't find a steady job. I can see why she got frustrated with him, but that still isn't an excuse to cheat. However, he's not the whole problem. She asked him to quit his jobs because she's a travel nurse and makes more money working out of state than he does, and someone needs to watch the kids. She also gained weight over the years and only recently started going to the gym after meeting the guy she slept with. I gave her 3 months to confess to him what she did. I was tired of watching her blame him for everything wrong that was going on in their marriage. Summer came around and she never told, so I did. It broke my heart telling him, but it broke me even more when I saw him cry for the first time. He confronted her and has since been living with his parents. During that time, my sister blocked me on everything. I was hurt, but even more so when I found out that the entire family already knew what she was doing and nobody said anything to him. A different family event came around and she confronted me about it, asking why I snitched and why I told our parents about it. I left because honestly, I was over it. My dad talked to me the next day about it. He says that we're family and she's my sister, but if I knew about what was going on, I shouldn't have said anything. When I asked why he thinks that way, he avoided the question. I left without arguing with him because it doesn't matter. My family isn't who I thought they were. I left my family behind after they betrayed me. I, 25, grew up in a pretty tight-knit family. I have a brother, 24, and a sister, 22, and I was very close to my parents, spending every holiday there and most weekends during college. We grew up in the suburbs of Minneapolis and all went to the University of Minnesota. A year ago, if you would have told me where I would be today, I would have laughed at your pessimism. But here we are. I met Stacy, 24, during my sophomore year of college, and we dated until I proposed last December. She said yes, and we were planning on getting married next summer and spending our lives in Minnesota. But in April, my life fell apart. I came home early to find my brother in bed with my fiancée. I freaked out, left, and kicked her out of our shared apartment. Days later, she came back and said she had fallen in love with my brother over the years and that she was sorry, but that was where her heart was. She moved out, and I blocked her and my brother. Initially, the rest of my family took my side and banned my brother from family events. I slowly began to heal. I had a work opportunity come up. My boss pulled me in and said that he had suggested I lead the office in Chicago. They were kind of a mess, and the company wanted someone from headquarters to take over. I couldn't believe it, but I said yes. I never thought I'd leave Minnesota, but I thought it was time for a change. This all happened in early November, and the plan was to move after Christmas. My plan was to tell the family at Thanksgiving and then spend Christmas one last time before moving. But of course, my ex and brother had to stick the knife in one last time before they left. When I showed up for Thanksgiving at my parents' house, there were several cars as the whole extended family comes over, so I didn't even notice my brother's car. I entered the house, and the first thing I see is my ex and brother talking with my aunt. I froze as my aunt called for my mum to come in. My brother and ex wouldn't look me in the eye. My mum and dad came in, greeted me, and asked me to sit down in the living room. I sat away from my brother and ex, but I saw the rest of the family, including my sister, sit closer to them. My mum started explaining that what they did was wrong and terrible, but that she hated that the family was split. She said I needed to work toward forgiveness. My ex and brother both started to apologize, but I put my hand up. I turned to my sister and asked her if she agreed. She had tears in her eyes but nodded. I asked my dad the same question, and he said yes pretty firmly. I was alone. I got up and walked out. I heard a couple of people yelling after me, but I didn't respond. I drove to a McDonald's, ate a pretty shitty Thanksgiving meal, and went through my options. I decided cutting them off was my best bet. I had saved plenty. I didn't need them, and they didn't know where I was moving. I blocked them all on my phone, but it was my parents' plan that I was on, so I turned the phone in the next week and got on my own plan. It doubled my cell bill, but it was worth it to get a new number. I blocked them on social media, and I told my boss that I wanted to move to Chicago early. I talked to the landlord of the apartment I was looking to rent, and he was happy to let me in early. I moved to Chicago on December 15th, and my family had no idea. A few friends knew, and it must have slipped because last night I got an Instagram DM from what I assume is my mom on a new profile, asking why I would move without telling them, and that the family missed and loved me, and that I needed to still make time for Christmas. I responded by saying that she only had one son now, and that I was no longer family. I then blocked her new account and locked down my profile and other social media. I've been looking to change my last name as well. I've left that life behind, and I'm excited to see what Chicago has to offer. And that's a wrap for today's story. But this is just one of the many shocking, dramatic, and unbelievable stories we bring here on the channel. If you love intense real-life dramas, unexpected twists, and jaw-dropping confessions, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. There's always another wild story waiting to be told. See you in the next one.